friends and people out there in podcast land. Welcome to Beyond Getting Organized, where we are going to assist you in getting free from the clutches of clutter and help you become the master of your physical environment and the master of your material world. So this is episode number 3, and in the first one it was the introduction. The second one was the backstory, or our story of our organizing and how we got into it with about my mom. And this is number 3, the spiritual aspect, because the spiritual aspect of organization and the material world is really, really important. And I cannot separate them because of my experience and who we are. So I just want to quickly tell you that I had my first mystical experience. I believe I was a baby. All I remember the experience. It was clear as if it happened yesterday, but it was a mystical experience. What I really want to emphasize now is when I was about 2 years old, first I lived on the back porch when I was a baby and a little bit older. Then they moved me up into the attic. And it sounds weird, but it was actually pretty cool because I had my own personal bathroom. I'm 2 years old, and it was a really old house. It was a very small house, and there were dormer windows. And I used to sit on the ledge of the dormer window, and I used to look up at the stars at night, and I would cry and say, I want to go home, I want to go home. What does that tell you? That's another story. We're not going to get into it now. Anyway, I had my bed there in the attic. It was just one open room, and there were closets that were built into the paneling of the house. It was a really old house, and the closet was just a slat in the paneling. We didn't open the closets. Nothing was placed in there, but they were closets. You could open them up, and it was like, in an attic, like an empty space. So when I would go to sleep, I would see other dimensional beings in the closet, and they were not nice. They were dark entities, and they knew I could see them, and they would come out at night, and they would come around my bed, and I was terribly frightened because I was a child, and they harassed me. Consequently, as I grew up in the attic, I didn't get much sleep because I stayed up all night lying like that, because I knew that if I rolled over, they would get me in my back. As I grew older, my ability to see other dimensional beings and people that passed away, animals that passed away, it expanded. I saw my first person that passed over in my 20s, and after that it has just continued. So I am gifted with that sight of seeing other dimensional beings, other dimensional energies, other dimensional frequencies. There's all sorts of beings around, let me tell you. So what is it? There's a lot more to my spiritual history and practice that I'm not going to get into. But the most important thing is my ability to see this, and this directly correlates and has an important aspect to the home, to clutter, to any area in your home that has stagnant energy, boxes that have been in one place for a long time. I'll tell you more about that in a future podcast. But it's really important to know that I can see these beings and the energy, and that enables me to be able to not only shift material things, but I'm shifting energy. And as I work remotely with people, I'm able to guide them so they can shift the things in their room, in their house, etc. And as they do that, from my guidance, then we are shifting the energy and moving any stagnant energies or any energies that do not belong there. We're moving them out. So that's the end of this one, and we will tell you more in our next podcast. Oringerash takarapakoro, vongoro horingirish tikiri pikarafakara stongoro horingere pakarash takarapakoro. Moi, echankarakaresh tikaropokoro.